Hey everyone, welcome to Craving Something Scary, where it's all horror all the time. Now in this video, I'm going to discuss a new article that reveals the real reason that the Ghostface kills were extra brutal in Scream 6. It turns out that it was one particular cast member that influenced the final decisions of how cinematographer Brett Jekowitz filmed many of the kills from a camera work perspective, which in turn led to the increased intensity and brazenness of the Ghostface attacks that we see in the film. So, who is the cast member behind all of this? Well, let's just say the camera does not fall far from the blade. Let's go! So Screen Rant published an article revealing the backstory of who influenced the more brutal kills in Scream 6. Now, I'm going to hit the highlights of the article for this video. Now, in honor of the film's home media release, Screen Rant exclusively interviewed cinematographer Brett Jekowitz for Scream 6, with the latest installment having introduced the most vicious iteration of the character yet. Brett explained how Scream 6's Ghostface actor Max LaFerriere had a major influence on the film's extra brutal kills and bringing a handheld style to the more terrifying sequences of the movie. Jekowitz explained, quote, "Ghostface in Scream 6 is a little bit different than the ones that have come before, just in terms of his intensity and the brazenness of his attacks are very much in public, very much out in the open. So we wanted to add to the intensity of that. We used the handheld camera work quite a lot for the Ghostface attacks because we really wanted to ground these sequences in these spaces and in the experiences that the characters are having in those moments. There's something about that extra intensity with the handheld camera work and being able to respond to the physicality of Ghostface. We had such a great performer as Ghostface, and just being able to let him lead a bit and let the camera follow what he wants to do in those sequences was another thing we did." End quote. So I'll just stop there and say this is so great. I mean, so innovative, such a brilliant and smart way of doing it. And he's right. There is an intensity, a rawness to how this Ghostface looks in the movie. And I mean, the bodega scene in particular comes to mind. I mean, that one just jumps out right away. And all of those, even in the trailer, I remember all those scenes that we see. I remember thinking to myself, wow, this looks amazing. Like this, just the way Ghostface moves, his movements inside the bodega, the way he looks very tactical, all those things, we've talked about here on the channel before, just really gets pulled off the screen with the camera work. And I love how when Sam and Tara are there on the ground and everything is just up close, it's tight, it's very much like you're in that moment, you're in that location, you're right there when it's happening with the cast. And it does add to the intensity. I can 100% agree. And it's so cool that Max, the actor who plays Ghostface in the movie, that he has the ability and the training to do those type of movements, to understand and have the command of not only the character, but the training of his own body, of how to maneuver himself, how to make those movements that do jump off the camera. So when they decide to go with a handheld up close, it doesn't like expose things. It shines on them. Because I always say this, like when you're talking about being on camera or on stage or on a spotlight, it either exposes you or it makes you shine. And clearly, when we're talking about the way Ghostface looks in these scenes, he's shining. I mean, it's just on display. And it's so impressive. And then, there's other scenes too in the movie. Like Gail's apartment is another one, just incredible. But I mean, there's a reason that they put those bodega scenes in the trailer. I guarantee it. That's no accident, because they're so darn impressive and they just really make an impact. So I thought this was really, really cool to get this little bit of insight to know that they trusted Max so much, that he brought so much to the table, and this is an actor who's on the camera so much of the movie, never says a word. Roger L. Jackson's the voice of Ghostface, but Max is Ghostface. He's the one that we see in all of these scenes doing all of the work. And to know that he brought those skills to the table, to the fact that, or to the point rather, that, the cinematographer trusts him enough to follow his movements, to let him lead, versus just them saying, hey, here's what we're going to do. You're going to go here and there. They gave him the freedom to make those movements and follow him. And the results were fantastic. And I just think it's great. I really do hope that they continue to use Max LaFerrier again in Scream 7. I hope that they use him more. I hope it's not just for Scream 6 that we get to see his amazing work as Ghostface, because in my opinion, he did fantastic. One of the best iterations of Ghostface I think that we've seen, taking nothing away from the previous actors at all, because I think they've all done amazing jobs. And I enjoy the performances of all of them. I genuinely do. But I do really like what he did in this movie, and there was just a different feel to the movements of Ghostface in 6. And it wasn't just the mask, that's the different look, but even the feel, the movements, there was a confidence. There was just, there was that less of a clumsiness to him. And I don't mind some of that clumsiness in the past. Like I say, I really don't. I think it made sense, especially when you're dealing with, 17-year-old kids, which primarily was high school kids in the past for the majority of the time. So that's what it should be like. But in this case, in this movie, knowing, who the killer was primarily, especially in a lot of these scenes, that was not the case. So it really made sense. And I just really hope that they consider bringing Max back in the future to reprise that role of Ghostface, because he did an amazing job. And by the way, guys, just to let you know, if you don't know already, on May 26th, later this month, I will have Max LaFerrier here on the channel for a 1-hour interview along with Jason Cavalier, who is the bodega shop owner who he fights with and takes the shotgun from. They'll both be here on my channel at 6 p.m. Central on May 26th for a 1-hour live stream interview. So do not miss that. But all right, guys, I just wanted to share this with you because I think it's great insight and was not aware of this nugget of truth. But now we know that a lot of that brutality and extra intensity that we all have commented on and enjoy, you can actually thank Max LaFerrier, Ghostface himself, for us getting that footage and that approach. All right, guys, now I want to know, what do you think about this? Tell me, how do you feel about Max's performance as Ghostface? Does he rank among one of your most favorite Ghostfaces as far as the performers in the costume in the franchise? Do you want to see him back in 7, or do you want it to be someone else? I want to know what you think about it. So let me know in the comments below now. Leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts and ideas about Max and his performance as Ghostface in Scream 6. All right, guys, so that's going to be it for this update, but I'll be back soon with more Scream and other horror movie content. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, this is Craven Something Scary, where it's all horror all the time. Thanks for watching.